my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. And in this video we're going to be talking about phone privacy in a relationship. Okay, so we all know we live in the world of phones and we often require privacy. So I'll be talking about what I think about that. I will talk about 2 examples of my previous relationships and how I dealt about phone privacy. And of course, I'll also talk about how I deal with phone privacy in my current relationship with my fiance. So if you're interested in these topics, stay on and let's get started. Okay guys, so before we get started, this is another episode of Simply Crochet and Chat with Angel. And for today, I will be crocheting this sweater vest that I started. It has a long way to go because I just started it today. So I'm hoping to have this completed in a week or so. So if you check on my channel in a week or so, you should be able to have the tutorial for this if you're a crocheter and you're looking to have some inspiration. Yeah, you should be able to check back and see this. Okay, so this is what I'm working on this week. All right, so let's get right into this topic. So privacy, phone privacy particularly. There's different types of privacy, but I'm talking about phone privacy today. So when we talk about phone privacy, to me what that means is, do I have the right to keep my phone locked? Nobody has access to it, especially my significant other or my partner, and vice versa. To me, they absolutely, you have the right to have your phone and nobody should be able to say they need to see what is in it or whatever the case is. We all know we live in a world of technology being it plays a very big role in our lives, especially a phone. A phone is no longer to just make phone calls or send text messages or emails and that's it. The phone is a very multi-purpose or multifunctional thing these days, where you can easily have your banking information in there. You can have everything. You're chatting with your friends, your family members, whoever you're chatting with, everything is on the phone. Same thing with calls and things like that. So it has become such an important device for a lot of us that you have to have privacy on it. And so if you have privacy on it so that other people outside of a relationship don't have access to it, that's absolutely obvious. It's actually recommended that you have passcodes and pin codes on your phone, right? So that you can protect your identity and things like that, because people can steal your phone and steal your identity if you have a lot of things on your phone. I'm talking about specifically between 2 people. So my opinion in that is that absolutely you have 100%, actually let me just repeat that. You have absolutely 1,000% right to have your phone and keep the privacy of it, whether it's to anyone else or the person you're in a relationship with. Now, with that said, I think there's a lot of different ways that we can look at that. Now, let's look at it this way. I'll give you 2 examples of 2 relationships that I was in prior to my current relationship. And I will also at the end talk about how I deal with phone privacy with my fiance currently. In my previous relationship, with one of the relationships, the phone was, you can absolutely use the phone. There's no pins put on it. You just had full access to it. Like, you can access the other person's phone. When I went into that relationship, I kind of wanted to be able to have my privacy, but we're talking about 10 years ago now. So the phones were not the same as they are now. And if they were, we were not using it for the same purpose that we're using it now. So back then, my phone was for calling, texting, having social media and going into it, but I didn't even have my banking information on my phone or anything like that. So when that relationship rules were that let's have our phones open and you can access my phone whenever you want and I do the same, I didn't have a problem with it. And also, I'm the kind of person who absolutely don't have a problem with my significant other going through my phone, because I don't hide anything. So with that relationship, everything, when it came to phone, there was no issues, there was no fighting, there was no I found something on your phone, none of it, because with that openness, we automatically had a level of trust that we did not mistrust the other, simply because they were open. They laid out everything like, I have nothing to hide. This is, you can take my phone and check it, which we didn't, or at least I didn't. I don't know if he did, but I know I did not go through his phone at any point of a relationship. Now, that was that. So when it came to that kind of rule, I did not agree with the fact that we had to have each other's phone access and can just pick up the phone at whatever point and go through it or whatever, do whatever you want to do with it. I did not agree with it. But at the time in that relationship, I agreed to it. Nothing really happened that was caused by that kind of rule in the relationship. So I was absolutely okay with it. Now, let's move on to my relationship after that. The phones become more multifunctional. You do a lot more with your phone. I get into this relationship, and we at some point we had a discussion about phones and pens and all of that kind of stuff. So when that happened, again, I expressed my opinion, which was that I would like to lock my phone. I would like to have a pin code on it. I don't have to give you the pin code, but if you want it, I can give it to you. I don't have a problem with it. And of course, my ex at the time was like, oh, it would be nice if I have your pin code. That way, if you're in the shower and for some reason my phone is dead and I would like to make a phone call, I can just type in the pin and I can use your phone. So again, I was okay with that because I don't hide anything. And at that point as well, I was not doing banking on my phone. I wasn't doing anything that I thought I needed to hide from somebody, or I did not feel comfortable with somebody seeing. So I was like, this is my pin. I chose a very simple pin for him to remember, something that was probably something that we could easily remember, and he had access to my phone. Now, what happened in that relationship was that that was actually a relationship where somebody cheated on me, and they cheated on me for 2 out of 3 years that we're together. And even though this person at the beginning, we had the discussion on phones and how to deal with, how do we have the right to access each other's phone and things like that. Even though that was the rule at the beginning, it came a point when I started to see something suspicious. And the weirdest thing is, it wasn't on his phone, it was on his laptop. And when I saw that, I had, by the way, this is another thing. We have multiple devices in the household, and I have that for the last 10 years. I have had a laptop and a cell phone, sometimes a tablet. Now, in that particular relationship, we had access to everything. So my pin for my tablet, I had his laptop, I had his pins, whatever pins that there were for our devices, we had each other's pins. So in this particular relationship, this person was communicating with someone on their tablet, but their phone did not have the same app that they were using to communicate with the person on the tablet, right? And that's another thing. You can have somebody install one app on one phone that is meant for communication, and maybe on a computer or a tablet they don't have it. So those are also things that people have to usually think of and worry about. If somebody tells you have access to my tablet and my computer, but on those devices they don't have their WhatsApp, they don't have their Facebook or whatever other things on it, so of course they will have access to those. So that's what you like to think of, right? If you think about it like that. But then they will tell you, but my phone, no way, like you're not having any access to my phone. But then it makes you think, but what is it that is in your phone that you don't want me to have access to, but you want me to have access to these other devices? Anyways, so in that relationship, the idea of having each other's devices open ended up ending, because when I found something on the laptop that was communications with another person or another woman, when I brought it up, then it became my fault. It became, so you don't trust me after all. Even though you have access to my things, you went looking for something. And in this particular case, I did not go looking for anything. And actually, you know what, you guys, I will probably do a story time when it comes to that particular relationship, because I would like to talk about exactly how this person cheated on me and what they were doing behind my back that made me not suspicious at all. I'll probably do a story time on that, so hopefully look out for that. But for this person, it's just that they left their laptop on, and when I opened the laptop to go in and use it, the first thing when I punched in the pin code was the messages that he left on the screen. So nevertheless, I found out, I confronted him, and then it became my fault. I don't trust him, and then I was no longer allowed to have any pins anymore for the cell phone, for the laptop, for the tablet, any of that. And of course I said the same thing. Okay, fine, if that's the case, then I'm going to keep my own stuff. First of all, when you get to that part of your relationship where you have to discuss about you don't trust me or this, that relationship is doomed. I've come to realize that when you start to question each other's trust in the relationship, most likely that's not gonna end very well. But anyways, so that was how my second relationship went. But and again, I don't want to divulge too much on this particular story of on that particular relationship, because I think it will make for good story time, which I think I'll be interested to do soon. So look out for that, because it's very interesting. And this is, creativity is a man's best friend when it comes to everything. So not just inventing or creating things, but even with cheating. Anyways, so that was that. So if we now fast forward to my current relationship with my fiance, when we got into this relationship, we didn't actually discuss about that. I just left my phone around, and a few times he was like, "Can I use your phone?" And I said, "Yeah." And I would, either go in and punch in the number, or I would tell him, "Oh, the number is this and this and this," and he would punch it in. And then at some point we decided, okay, maybe it's time to talk about it, because I did not want the relationship to carry on without really having some solid kind of rules down for how we need to deal with our phone privacies. Because with my current fiance, he's not from here. So whenever he was always with me, he couldn't use his phone because his phone was international. So he needed to use my phone a lot to make calls and things like that. So that then was a good reason to just have him have my PIN code, my password, so that if I'm in the shower and he needed to use my phone, he has access to it. Again, because I have nothing to hide, that wasn't even a debate. It wasn't like, well, but I don't want you to have my PIN or whatever the case is, right? So it was just like an automatic thing. But then now we live together and he has a local number, and then the discussion had to come out like, okay, so now what do we do? Like, are you comfortable with me having your PIN, and vice versa? And so in this particular relationship that I'm in now, the rules are that, and it's not even like very stringent rules. It's not like this is how it must happen or else. We just decided that our privacy is important to us. And I think also as we grow up as people, we start to understand life better. Like, your privacy is important to you, but most importantly, that trust is important. So if I am trusting you to trust that I'm not doing anything, then that's the trust you need to give me, and vice versa, right? But also, we don't actually, so we have our own pins to our devices. I have a tablet, a laptop, a cell phone, and things like that, and I have them all protected with pins. But we discussed that we will have those. We will not physically give each other the pins to our devices. But what would happen is, if for some reason he needs to use my tablet and he goes, "Babe, can I use your tablet for ABC?" Because he has a tablet, he has a laptop, he has a cell phone. I have a cell phone, I have a tablet, I have a laptop. So we have similar devices. So there should not be any time where he would need to use mine, unless he didn't charge it or whatever the case is, which is absolutely fine. So then we talked about that, and we said, if you needed to use my phone, sometimes he needs to call somewhere. I have long distance on my phone, he doesn't. So then he would usually need to use my phone. And so what we discussed, again, sorry, I'm kind of, repeating myself here, but so what we discussed was that if he needs to use any of my devices for whatever reason, it's up to my discretion whether I tell him the PIN so he can enter and use it, or I simply take my device, I type in the PIN number, and I give it to him and he can use it. So we decided that was the easiest way, because first of all, I get to keep my privacy where he doesn't have access to just freely use my phone whenever he wants, because it's still my phone. If he calls long distance on my phone, my bill comes to me and I end up having to pay for it, right? And just whatever the case is. So anyways, going back a little bit, our rule is that we have our devices protected, not just for us, but for other people. If we lose our devices, let's say we leave and we go somewhere and we lose a cell phone, we lose a tablet, it's best that it's protected by the PIN, so that other people who end up picking that up don't have easy access to getting into our devices, and therefore getting access to most of the things that are on those tablets or laptops or cell phones. So that is one thing, is that it's protected for that reason. But between each other, we protect it so that we have our own privacy. So if I want to discuss with my auntie about something to do with him, and it could just be simply that I want to buy him a present, and I'm going to other friends or my auntie or my mom or whoever it is to talk about these things, I would like him not to see it, right? And vice versa. If he wants to discuss, like for example, when he proposed to me, he told me how he had been planning it for a long time, and he's been talking to his dad and his mom and his brothers, his sister. So, and this is all done over the phone or over text messages. If I had access freely to his devices and I came across any of those messages, I would have seen it, and it would have never been a surprise, right? It would have never been that big of a surprise when he ended up proposing. So it's things like that. So for me, I think the ideal thing is that trust plays a big role when it comes to phone privacy. If you trust your significant other, you don't have to have access to their phone for that reason. Because if you demand to have access to their phone, most likely it's not just to say, that way if I need to use it, I can. Because if you have your own devices, usually one of them will be charged, if not all of them, at all times. So if you're demanding that your partner gives you their PIN codes and their passwords, it's because you're looking to dig for more, right? You're looking to see who are they talking to, who are they chatting with, what is this and that. And the one thing that my fiance and I did from the beginning of our relationship is that, again, we live in the world of social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and I have a lot of people, men, contacting me. And I have had so many Facebook proposals, you guys. It's crazy how people simply just add you as a friend, you accept it, and before you know it, they're, pretty much telling you how much they love you, how you're meant to be with them, and things like that. So these are usually things that when it happens to me, I just show it to him. I say, oh my God, can you believe this person that I don't know send me this kind of poem or say this to me? And he does the same thing. He will show me messages. Like, my boyfriend is, he's a handsome man, so there's a lot of women who like message him and wanting to be with him and things like that. But we take all of those in stride, and we take them as not like, we don't take it seriously. Obviously, if you're going to put yourself out there in social media, you are going to get all kind of people who are not, necessarily maybe not thinking the same way as you're thinking, whether it's judging or things like that. So if a girl is going to see his picture on Instagram and is going to send him a private message and says how she would do all of these kind of things to him, he's going to show me that message, but that's where trust comes from. Because if he doesn't show me that, or he just start to correspond with that person without telling me, then the trust is kind of lost a little bit, and it's going to make me suspicious, right? So the openness of it all, where you tell the other person, listen, look at this person writing me this, or look at what this person said to me, or whatever the case is, that makes the relationship very easygoing and very trusting, so that nobody needs to feel the need to go through each other's phone to find out things. So I hope it makes sense. So the whole, the whole lesson to be learned here is that I think privacy, your own privacy, is super important, and you should always have the right to have that privacy. But if you so choose to share your phone pins, your tablet pins, your laptop pins with your significant other, then you do that understanding that they could go through your devices looking for things, and if that happens, those rules could change. So rules can change. In my current relationship, they could change at any time. If he so decide he doesn't trust me anymore and he start to go through my phone, that would offend me to a point where I say, hey, you had the privilege to have access to my phone, and since you want to snoop and look for things, I no longer want you to have access to my phone, therefore I'm gonna cut it off. And that could create very big problems in a relationship, but at least there will be an understanding that you need to trust the person. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. Like I said at the beginning, If you have any comments on how you deal with phone privacy in your relationship, let me know in the comments below. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, let me know. If you agree with it, let me know. Just say why. That way we kind of learn from each other, and not just say I think you're wrong or I think you're right. I think just kind of, you know, give a little bit of context or give a little bit of juice to the message. That way not just I but other people who read the messages can learn from it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for staying on. Hey guys, thank you so much for staying to the end of the video, and if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Thank you, and I appreciate your support. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I post any new videos. I post about once a week or sometimes twice a week. And also comment below and let me know what you think, what you'd like to see from me. Let me know what you would like me to talk about next. If there's any subject out there or topics that you would like to know how I deal with, please comment below and I will try my best to do the videos that everyone in my channel is going to enjoy. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you guys.